Joining us now, our special correspondent, Frank Sesno, for this week's What If segment. Frank?
And what if we start with the maps to look at what's happening with this whole climate change business? United States of America. Watch especially in the southern and northern portions. Here's a map of the temperature zones from 1990. Zoom forward, 2006. It's just getting warmer. And just yesterday, NASA came out with a new report, and they said by 2080, if you have a kid today, they'll still be around for this. By 2080, a heat wave in Chicago could mean average temperatures of 110 degrees or so. 100 to 110 degrees. You know, it's already underway. We're starting to see things around the world.
These are not pretty pictures. Melting glaciers, dying coral reefs, drought in some places, warming lakes in others, endangered species. But what if the world took climate change seriously? Maybe it's starting to. It's certainly become trendy. It can make you a rock star, even if you're not one already. But what if it were more than talk? Well, last week, the International Panel on Climate Change, experts from around the world wrote up an action plan, and they identified lots of options. Starting today, we could shift from coal to gas, build more new power plants, move toward more efficient vehicles, manage farms and forests to reduce carbon emissions. Future technologies, commercially viable within 20 years, will be even more important. High-tech renewable energy from wind, sea, and sun. Advanced biofuels from agricultural waste. Plug-in hybrids. I've seen GM's prototype myself. It can run on no gas at all. And for old energy like coal, technology to capture and store the carbon released when it's burned. What if we got serious about doing all of this? Leaders would have to lead and make some unpopular decisions. Incentives, subsidies, and yes, taxes, including a tax on carbon emissions, probably, to spur investment and move the marketplace. Expensive? You bet. Trillions and trillions. The climate panel says the cost could slow global growth up to 5%, a bitter pill given poverty and population pressures around the world. But if it cleared the air, it could pay dividends in both global and human health. What if hand-wringing were replaced by action? It would be a start.
A start, Wolf, but back to the map of the globe, and you see just how huge the problem is. First to China. This is a country of 1.3 billion people. They've lifted 400 million out of poverty. They have 700 million people to go. They are soon going to surpass the United States as the leading emitter of greenhouse gases. To Malaysia and Indonesia, we barely even think of them. They're the third largest emitters now because their rainforests are burning and their peat bogs that's putting up so much of this stuff. And, of course, the United States of America, 5% of the world's population, 25% of the resources, and we all want continued economic growth. This is really hard.
You've studied this, I know, very, very intensively. Will any of these solutions work, Frank?
Well, what's interesting from the climate panel is they're all there. The technology is or will be there. It's a matter of political will, but it's also a matter of fact. The world's population is probably going to double in the next 20 years, 30, 40 years, something like that, by 2050. And the needs for power are going to double. And according to Nate Lewis, he's a professor at Caltech, he's a chemistry professor out there, we would have to build a new nuclear power plant every other day for the next 50 years if we were going to address the power needs we know we're going to need without contributing to more global warming.
Good What If segment. Thanks very much. Sobering information. Frank Sesno.
Okay, well.